You ever feel like life's throwing one storm after another at you? Chaos, stress, or just the weight of it all? What if the secret to unshakable calm isn't about escaping the madness, but mastering your mind right in the middle of it? Welcome to Zenlight 8, where we dive deep into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, inspired by Marcus Aurelius himself. In this video, we're breaking down practical, battle-tested ways to train your mind, rise above the noise, and become unstoppable, no matter what life throws your way. Let's get started. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, the wind howling around you, the world below a blur of motion and noise. Life feels like that sometimes. A relentless gale of events, expectations, and emotions threatening to sweep you off your feet. But what if the storm isn't the problem? What if the real battle lies not in the chaos swirling around you, but in the way you choose to see it? The ancient Stoics, with their piercing clarity, understood this truth better than most. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor burdened by war, betrayal, and illness, wrote in his private journals, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." These words aren't just philosophy. They're a lifeline, a reminder that the lens of your mind shapes the world you experience. Your thoughts are the brushstrokes painting the canvas of your reality, and in mastering them, you hold the power to transform turmoil into tranquility, despair into determination, and chaos into clarity. This is the heart of Stoicism, the radical idea that events are neutral, mere beams of light passing through the prism of your perception. And it's you who decides whether they scatter into a rainbow of peace or fracture into shards of pain. Think of your mind as a prism, a delicate yet powerful instrument. A single ray of light, an event, a comment, a failure enters, and what emerges depends entirely on how you bend it. The Stoics taught that nothing external has the power to harm you unless you grant it permission. A rude remark from a coworker, a missed opportunity, a sudden financial hit, these are just raw materials, formless until your thoughts give them shape. Consider a modern example. Picture yourself stuck in traffic on a Monday morning, late for a crucial meeting. The honking cars, the ticking clock, the rising heat in your chest. It's easy to let this moment spiral into frustration, to paint it as a disaster. But what if you stepped back and saw it differently? What if, like a Stoic, you chose to see the traffic not as a personal attack but as a chance to practice patience, to breathe deeply, to prepare mentally for the day ahead? The event hasn't changed, the cars are still there, the clock still ticks, but your experience of it has. You've refracted the light into something empowering rather than enraging. This is the alchemy of perception, the art of turning life's raw data into a masterpiece of resilience. Marcus Aurelius lived this truth every day. Surrounded by the chaos of an empire in turmoil, he didn't have the luxury of a quiet life. His mornings weren't filled with calm meditations by a serene lake, but with the weight of decisions that could save or doom millions. Yet, in the dim light of dawn, he wrote to himself as a student of life, not a ruler of men. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. These words resonate across centuries because they're not just for emperors, they're for anyone who's ever felt overwhelmed by the unpredictability of existence. They're for the single parent juggling bills and bedtime stories, the entrepreneur facing a failing venture, the student staring at a rejection letter. The strength Marcus found wasn't in controlling the world, it was in controlling how he saw it. He understood that the mind is a storyteller, and every event is a blank page. The question is, what story will you write? This idea isn't just ancient wisdom. It's backed by modern science. Psychologists like Dr. Carol Dweck, who pioneered the concept of a growth mindset, have shown that how we interpret challenges shapes our outcomes. People who see setbacks as opportunities for growth are more likely to persevere, to innovate, to thrive. In contrast, those who view obstacles as personal failures often spiral into self-doubt. The Stoics were onto this long before brain scans confirmed it. They knew that the narratives we weave about ourselves, our circumstances, our possibilities, become the scaffolding of our lives. Take a real-world story. J.K. Rowling, before she was a household name, faced rejection after rejection for her Harry Potter manuscript. 12 publishers said no. She was a single mother scraping by, wrestling with despair. But instead of seeing those rejections as proof of failure, she chose to see them as steps toward her goal. Each no was a chance to refine her work, to keep going. Her mind bent the light of rejection into resolve, and the result wasn't just a book. It was a cultural phenomenon that inspired millions. That's the Stoic principle in action. The event is neutral, but your perception is everything. But let's be real, this isn't easy. It's one thing to nod along to lofty ideas and another to live them when life hits hard. The Stoics didn't sugarcoat this. They knew the mind loves to embellish, to turn a sideways glance into an insult, a missed deadline into a catastrophe. We're wired to react, to assign meaning before we've had time to think. That's where the work begins. Not in chasing a perfect life, but in catching yourself in the act of storytelling. Picture a moment from your own life. Maybe a friend didn't text back, and your mind spun a tale of betrayal or neglect. The Stoics would urge you to pause and strip the story bare. What's the raw event? A message wasn't returned. That's it. Everything else, the hurt, the assumptions, the anger, is a layer you've added. Peel it back, and you're free to choose a different narrative, one that doesn't wound you. This isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about questioning them, about refusing to let them drive the car. This practice is a quiet rebellion against a world that thrives on reaction. In our hyper-connected age, we're bombarded with stimuli, news alerts, social media posts, endless opinions. Each one begging us to feel something, to judge, to take sides. It's a trap the Stoics would have spotted a mile away. They'd remind us that every time we let a headline hijack our peace or a comment derail our focus, we're handing over our power. But when we reclaim our perception, we reclaim our freedom. It's like standing in the eye of a hurricane, untouched by the winds. You don't need the storm to stop. You just need to know it can't touch you unless you let it. This is what Marcus meant when he spoke of the soul's color. Your joy, your pain, your calm, they're not dictated by the world. They're crafted by you, moment by moment, thought by thought. Try this tonight. Grab a notebook and jot down 3 moments from your day that rattled you. A harsh word, a plan gone wrong, a fleeting worry. Next to each, write how you could have seen it differently. Maybe that harsh word was less about you and more about the speaker's bad day. Maybe the plan's collapse opened a door you hadn't noticed. Don't judge yourself for feeling upset. Just explore how a shift in perspective could change the story. It's a small act, but it's the beginning of a revolution. You're training your mind to pause, to question, to choose. And in that choice lies a power no storm can take away. This mastery of perception is only the first step. To truly stand unshaken, we must guard not just how we see the world, but what we allow into our inner sanctuary. A practice the Stoics called emotional hygiene, one that shields us from the contagion of chaos. Life is a tempest, a relentless churn of uncertainty, conflict, and demands that can leave even the strongest among us reeling. Yet, in the heart of this storm, there exists a quiet power, the ability to stand unshaken, to find calm not by escaping chaos but by mastering your response to it. The Stoics, those ancient architects of resilience, understood this better than most. They saw the world for what it is, a wild, unpredictable force that cares nothing for your plans or desires. But they also saw something else, that within you lies the capacity to forge an inner sanctuary, a fortress of tranquility that no external turmoil can breach. This is the essence of Stoicism's second lesson, calm amid chaos. It's not about waiting for the world to grow still, because it never will. It's about training your mind to remain steady, to become the eye of the hurricane, untouched by the winds that rage around you. And woven into this pursuit of calm is a deeper truth, the third pillar of Stoic wisdom. Living itself is an act of courage. To rise each day, to face the unknown without flinching, to persist through setbacks without complaint. This is the quiet bravery that forms the foundation of every virtue. Together, these principles offer not just a philosophy but a way of being, a path to a life where chaos refines you rather than breaks you. Let's start with calm amid chaos. Picture yourself in a crowded airport terminal, your flight delayed for hours, announcements blaring, strangers jostling past. The air buzzes with frustration. People snapping at gate agents, scrolling furiously through their phones, muttering complaints. It's a microcosm of life's disorder, a snapshot of the world's refusal to bend to your will. In that moment, your instinct might be to join the fray, to let irritation take the wheel. But what if you didn't? What if, instead, you took a breath and chose to see the delay not as a theft of your time but as a gift of pause? Maybe it's a chance to read a few pages of that book you've been carrying, to call a friend you haven't spoken to in months, or simply to sit and notice the world around you. The tired mother soothing her child, the businessman typing furiously on his laptop, the barista moving with quiet efficiency. This is what the Stoics meant when they spoke of calm as a choice. The chaos hasn't vanished. The terminal is still loud. The delay still real. But you've shifted your inner landscape. You've chosen to anchor yourself not in what's happening but in how you meet it. Marcus Aurelius, a man who knew chaos intimately, lived this principle daily. As emperor, he faced an empire teetering on the edge, plagues decimating cities, barbarians pressing at the borders, political rivals scheming in the shadows. Yet, in his private writings, he didn't curse his circumstances. Instead, he reminded himself, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. These words cut like a blade through the noise of our excuses. They remind us that calm isn't a reward for a perfect life. It's a skill, honed through deliberate practice. Marcus didn't have a serene palace to retreat to. He carried his serenity within him, a portable fortress built thought by thought. And that's the invitation Stoicism extends to us all, to stop waiting for the world to quiet down and start cultivating stillness within ourselves. This idea resonates deeply in our modern world, where chaos feels amplified by the relentless pace of technology and expectation. We're bombarded by notifications, deadlines, and the pressure to keep up. Whether it's in our careers, our social lives, or even our own heads. A 2023 study from the American Psychological Association found that nearly 60% of Americans report feeling overwhelmed by stress daily, citing everything from work to social media as triggers. It's no wonder we feel like we're drowning. But the Stoics would argue that drowning isn't inevitable, it's a choice. Not because stress isn't real, but because we can choose how much power we give it. Consider someone like Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist who wrote Man's Search for Meaning. Trapped in Nazi concentration camps, stripped of every external freedom, Frankl discovered that even in unimaginable horror, he could control his inner response. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, he wrote, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Frankl wasn't a Stoic by name, but his life embodied their truth. Calm isn't the absence of suffering. It's the presence of choice. Practicing this kind of calm requires vigilance. It's not a one-and-done decision, but a habit you build, like a muscle strengthened through repetition. Start small. The next time you're hit with a minor irritation, a slow Wi-Fi connection, a snarky email, pause before you react. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Most of the time, it's not. Over time, these pauses accumulate, rewiring your instincts. You begin to notice patterns, how often you let small things steal your calm, how much energy you waste on what you can't control. And as you notice, you grow stronger, more deliberate. You become someone who doesn't just survive chaos but thrives in it. Not because you're immune to struggle, but because you've learned to navigate it with grace. This practice isn't about detachment or apathy. The Stoics weren't cold robots. They felt deeply, loved fiercely, cared intensely, but they refused to let their emotions hijack their reason. Think of a parent soothing a crying child in the middle of a sleepless night. The exhaustion is real, the frustration valid, but they choose calm. Not because it's easy, but because it's what the moment demands. That's Stoic calm. Not the absence of feeling, but the mastery of it. It's what allows a firefighter to run into a burning building, a teacher to stay patient with a struggling student, or you to face a tough day without crumbling. It's a quiet power, one that grows stronger the more you use it. And this brings us to the courage required to live such a life. The Stoics saw existence itself as an act of bravery. Not the loud, cinematic kind, but the quiet, persistent kind that often goes unnoticed. Every morning you open your eyes, you're stepping into a world that offers no guarantees. Jobs are lost, relationships falter, dreams dissolve. The news feed bombards you with crises, from wars to economic woes. Even your own mind can betray you, whispering doubts or regrets when you least expect it. Yet you get up. You make coffee, answer emails, hug your kids, or chase your goals. That's courage. Not because it's flashy, but because it's real. The Stoics believed this daily persistence, this refusal to be crushed by life's weight, is the bedrock of every other virtue. Without the courage to face the unknown, there can be no wisdom, no justice, no temperance. Consider a story from recent years. Malala Yousafzai, the young Pakistani activist shot by the Taliban for advocating girls' education. At just 15, she faced death for her beliefs, yet she survived and kept speaking out. Her courage wasn't a single heroic act but a daily choice. To study despite threats, to write despite fear, to stand up again after unimaginable trauma. In a 2013 speech at the United Nations, she said, "We realized the importance of pens and books when we saw the guns." That's Stoic courage. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Malala didn't complain about her circumstances or wait for the world to change. She met it head-on, transforming pain into purpose. The Stoics would have nodded in recognition, seeing in her the same resolve they prized. The ability to persist without resentment, to turn adversity into a forge for character. This courage isn't reserved for extraordinary figures. It's in the nurse working a double shift, smiling through exhaustion to comfort a patient. It's in the small business owner who keeps going after a failed venture, dusting themselves off to try again. It's in you, every time you choose to face a challenge rather than run from it. The Stoics taught that life's trials, big or small, are the crucible where virtue is shaped. To complain is to reject the lesson. To endure is to embrace it. And endurance doesn't mean grinning through pain like a caricature of positivity. It means acknowledging the hurt, the doubt, the fear, and then choosing to move forward anyway. It's saying, "This is hard, but I'm harder." This courage is deeply tied to calm. When you face life's uncertainties without buckling, you create space for serenity to grow. Think of a time you pushed through something tough. A breakup, a work crisis, a personal loss. In the moment, it felt like the world was collapsing. But looking back, didn't you find a strange peace in your resilience? That's the Stoic paradox. Courage breeds calm. By refusing to let chaos dictate your inner state, you build a quiet strength that carries you through the next storm and the next. It's not about being fearless. It's about being faithful to your own capacity to endure. Modern research backs this up. Psychologists studying resilience, like Dr. Angela Duckworth, talk about grit, the blend of passion and perseverance that drives people to keep going despite obstacles. Her studies show that grit often matters more than talent or luck in predicting success. The Stoics would have called this courage, but the idea is the same. The ability to show up day after day without letting setbacks define you. Whether you're chasing a degree, rebuilding a relationship, or just trying to be a better person, it's the stubborn persistence that shapes who you become. And with each step, you carve out a little more calm, a little more clarity. Living this way takes practice, and the Stoics were all about action, not just theory. Try this. The next time life feels overwhelming, maybe a project tanks or a loved one lets you down, write down one small step you can take to move forward. Not a grand plan, just something tangible. Maybe it's sending an email, apologizing sincerely, or taking 10 minutes to breathe and refocus. Then do it. That small act is courage in motion, a brick laid in the foundation of your inner fortress. And as those bricks stack up, you'll notice something. The chaos doesn't feel so chaotic anymore. You're not just surviving, you're shaping your life one deliberate choice at a time. This blend of calm and courage isn't about perfection. You'll falter, you'll snap at someone, dwell on a failure, or let stress creep in. That's okay, the Stoics weren't saints. Marcus himself admitted to losing his temper, to wrestling with doubt. What matters is returning to the practice, recommitting to the choice. Each time you do, you're not just building resilience. You're becoming someone who can be trusted with hardship, someone who doesn't break when the world bends. This journey of calm and courage is a lifelong one, but it starts with understanding the raw material of life itself. The Stoics saw every event, every challenge, as a chance to refine their perception, to strip away illusion and see reality clearly. That's where we'll turn next, to the art of viewing the world not as a battlefield, but as a classroom where every moment teaches us how to live. Life is a kaleidoscope of moments, some radiant, some jagged, all spinning together in a pattern we can't fully predict. Yet, within this ever-shifting mosaic, there's a truth the Stoics held close. The world doesn't dictate your experience, your mind does. Events crash into your life like waves against a shore, but it's not the waves that shape you. It's how you stand against them. This is the Stoic art of controlling perception, the first cornerstone of a mind that bends chaos into clarity. Your thoughts are a lens, filtering every joy, every wound, every fleeting encounter. Master that lens, and you master your reality, turning obstacles into stepping stones and setbacks into lessons. But this mastery demands more than just seeing clearly. It requires guarding your inner world against the invisible currents of others' emotions. The Stoics understood that feelings are contagious, spreading like wildfire in a digital age that thrives on outrage and noise. Emotional hygiene, their second principle, is the discipline of protecting your peace, of drawing a line between your soul and the chaos of the crowd. Together, these practices, controlling perception and cleansing your emotional landscape, build a foundation for a life not swayed by storms but strengthened by them. Let's begin with perception, the prism through which all of life passes. Imagine you're hiking a rugged trail, the path ahead blocked by a fallen tree. Your first thought might be frustration. Why now? Why me? The obstacle feels personal, a deliberate thwarting of your plans. But what if you paused and shifted your gaze? The tree isn't just a barrier. It's a chance to test your resourcefulness, to climb over it, to find a new route, or even to sit and marvel at the raw power of nature. The Stoics taught that every event is like that tree, neutral, stripped of meaning until your mind assigns it one. Marcus Aurelius, scribbling in his tent amid the din of war, put it plainly, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." His words aren't a platitude. They're a call to arms, urging you to seize the one thing you can always control: how you interpret the world. This idea is radical because it flips our instincts upside down. We're wired to react, to see a harsh word as an attack, a failure as a verdict on our worth. But the Stoics ask us to step back and question those reflexes. Consider a real-life moment. You pitch an idea at work, pouring your heart into it, only to have it shot down in front of your team. The sting is immediate: embarrassment, maybe anger, a whisper of self-doubt. Your mind wants to spin a story. They don't value me. I'm not good enough. But what if you reframed it? The rejection isn't a judgment. It's feedback, a chance to refine your idea, to learn how your colleagues think, to grow thicker skin. The event hasn't changed, your pitch was still turned down, but your experience of it has. You've taken a raw moment and shaped it into something that fuels you rather than burns you. That's the Stoic magic. Not changing the world, but changing how you meet it. This practice echoes modern insights from cognitive behavioral therapy, which owes a debt to Stoic wisdom. Psychologists like Dr. Aaron Beck have shown that our thoughts drive our emotions, often more than the events themselves. In studies, people who learn to challenge negative interpretations, say, seeing a friend's silence as busyness rather than rejection, report lower anxiety and greater resilience. The Stoics were doing this centuries ago without the jargon. They knew that the mind is a storyteller, and every story is a choice. Take someone like Oprah Winfrey, who rose from a childhood of poverty and abuse to become a global icon. Early in her career, she faced skepticism, told she didn't fit the mold of a TV host. Instead of internalizing that as failure, she saw it as a challenge to redefine the mold. Each no was a chance to prove her vision, to hone her voice. Her perception didn't just save her, it shaped a legacy. That's the power you hold every day, in every moment, to rewrite the narrative of your life. But rewriting isn't easy. The mind loves drama, inflating a missed call into betrayal or a bad day into a doomed future. The Stoics urge us to catch these stories in the act, to strip them down to their bones. Try this. Tonight, reflect on a moment that unsettled you. A coworker's snarky comment, a plan that fell apart. Write down the raw facts, nothing more. They said X. The meeting was canceled. Then ask, what did I add to this? The hurt, the assumptions, the weight, they're not in the event. They're in your lens. Now reframe it. Could that comment have come from their stress, not your flaw? Could the cancellation open a new possibility? This isn't about pretending pain doesn't exist. It's about refusing to let it define you. It's about seeing life as a classroom, where every challenge teaches you how to grow stronger, wiser, freer. Yet, even as you master your perception, there's another threat to your peace, one that creeps in quietly, often unnoticed. Emotions are contagious, seeping into your mind like ink into water. The Stoics, with their razor-sharp insight, saw this long before neuroscience confirmed it. They warned that if you don't guard your inner world, you'll absorb the anger, fear, or envy of those around you, letting their chaos become your own. Epictetus, another Stoic sage, cut to the core. If someone tried to take control of your body, you would fight for freedom. Yet how easily you hand over your mind to anyone who insults you. His words are a wake-up call, especially in our hyper-connected age, where emotional contagion spreads faster than ever. Picture a typical day. You're scrolling through social media, and a heated post catches your eye. An argument over politics, a celebrity scandal, a flood of outrage. Before you know it, your heart's racing, your thoughts spiraling into frustration or judgment. You weren't even part of the conversation, yet you're carrying its weight. Or maybe it's closer to home. A friend vents about their bad day, and soon you're tense, mirroring their stress without realizing it. Science backs this up. Mirror neurons in your brain fire when you observe others' emotions, wiring you to feel what they feel. A 2018 study in Nature Communications found that stress can spread through social networks, even online, amplifying anxiety across communities. The Stoics didn't have brain scans, but they knew the mind is a sponge, soaking up whatever it lingers on. Left unchecked, you become a passenger in someone else's emotional storm. This is where emotional hygiene comes in, a deliberate practice of protecting your peace. It's not about shutting people out or turning cold. It's about choosing what you let in. Think of your mind as a garden, what you water grows. If you dwell on negativity, whether it's a coworker's gripe, a news headline, or a stranger's tweet, you're nourishing weeds. But if you focus on what uplifts kindness, purpose, clarity, you cultivate strength. The Stoics were ruthless about this. They'd walk away from gossip, tune out petty complaints, and refuse to let others' moods hijack their calm. In today's world, that might mean curating your media diet, unfollowing accounts that stir anger, limiting news to what's actionable, or simply putting your phone down to breathe. It's a small act, but it's revolutionary. You're saying, my peace is mine, and I won't surrender it. Consider a story from the pandemic era. A nurse named Sarah, working grueling shifts in a packed ICU. Her days were steeped in fear and grief. Patients struggling, families pleading, colleagues burning out. The emotional weight was crushing, yet Sarah stayed steady. How? She set boundaries. After each shift, she'd sit in her car for 10 minutes, listening to soft music, letting the hospital's chaos slip away before driving home. At work, she listened to her team's fears but didn't absorb them. She offered calm instead, redirecting conversations to solutions. Sarah wasn't a Stoic scholar, but she lived their truth. You can't stop the world's pain, but you can choose not to carry it. Her emotional hygiene didn't just save her sanity. It made her a beacon for others. This practice takes discipline, especially when negativity feels magnetic. Outrage is addictive. Social media algorithms know this, serving up divisive content to keep you hooked. A 2021 report from MIT found that tweets with moral outrage spread 6 times faster than neutral ones. The Stoics would have seen this as a trap, a thief of your attention. They'd urge you to fast from it. Not forever, but long enough to notice how your mind clears when you step away. Try it for a day. When someone's anger or anxiety brushes against you, imagine a shield around your heart. Let their words bounce off, not sink in. Observe their emotion without owning it. It's not callous. It's clarity. A refusal to let someone else's storm cloud your sky. This isn't about perfection. You'll slip, get sucked into an argument, stew over a slight. That's human. The Stoics didn't expect flawless detachment. They expected effort. Each time you catch yourself absorbing negativity and choose to let it go, you're building a habit. Over time, your mind becomes less porous, your peace less fragile. You start to feel a quiet power. Not the loud kind that demands attention, but the steady kind that holds firm when the world shakes. Mastering perception and emotional hygiene are two sides of the same coin. They're about owning your inner world. The Stoics knew that life's chaos is a given, but your response isn't. By shaping how you see events and guarding what you let in, you're not just surviving, you're crafting a life of purpose and resilience. And this clarity sets the stage for the next step. Learning to root yourself in the only moment you truly own, the present, where calm and courage find their deepest strength. The world moves at a relentless pace, pulling us in 1,000 directions. Backward into regrets, forward into worries, anywhere but here. Yet, in the midst of this whirlwind, the Stoics offer a piercing truth. True calm, true power, exists only in the present moment. Like a clear pool untouched by the ripples of past or future, the now is where you stand firm, where your choices shape your reality. To dwell on what was or what might be is to surrender your strength, to let shadows steal the light of today. The Stoics, with their unwavering clarity, urge us to anchor ourselves in this breath, this step, this fleeting second, because it's all we truly own. And from this grounding in the present springs another Stoic secret: the courage to choose discomfort deliberately. By stepping into hardship on your own terms, whether it's a cold morning run or a daunting conversation, you rob adversity of its sting. You train your mind to see challenge not as a threat, but as a teacher, forging resilience that holds fast when life's inevitable trials arrive. Together, these practices, embracing the present and welcoming voluntary discomfort, build a life not just endured but mastered. A life where you meet chaos with clarity and fear with fortitude. Let's start with the power of the present. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads, the path behind you littered with memories, mistakes you replay, words you wish you'd said differently. Ahead lies a fog of possibilities, deadlines looming, relationships uncertain, dreams that might never take shape. It's easy to get lost in either direction, to let regret or anxiety pull you away from where you stand. But the Stoics, like Seneca, saw through this trap. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. He wrote, cutting to the heart of what robs us of peace. The past is a ghost, unchangeable. The future, a phantom, unborn. Only the present is real, tangible, yours to shape. It's where you act, think, choose where you live. This truth hits hard in our distracted age. We're wired to wander, scrolling through old photos, fretting over tomorrow's meetings, rarely pausing to notice the weight of a coffee mug in our hand or the rhythm of our breath. A 2020 study from Harvard found that people spend nearly 47% of their waking hours lost in thoughts unrelated to the moment, and this mind-wandering often fuels unhappiness. The Stoics would nod knowingly. They saw that every time you replay a slight, say, a friend's offhand remark, you're not just reliving pain, you're giving it power to steal your now. Every time you obsess over what might go wrong, a presentation, a health scare, you're burning energy on a fiction that hasn't arrived. The present, they argued, is your only stronghold, the one place where you can wield your will with precision. Consider a modern hero like Simone Biles, the gymnast who redefined resilience at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Facing immense pressure and a mental health crisis, she withdrew from several events, a decision that sparked global debate. But then she returned, competing in the balance beam final with a focus so sharp it silenced critics. In interviews, she spoke of grounding herself in the moment, tuning out the noise of expectations, the weight of past triumphs, and the uncertainty of her future. Each routine became a singular act of presence, a choice to pour everything into the now. That's Stoic wisdom in action. Not denying the storm but finding calm within it, step by deliberate step. Biles didn't erase the chaos. She mastered her response to it, proving that the present is where strength is born. Living this way takes practice because the mind is a restless traveler. It drifts to yesterday's failures or tomorrow's fears, leaving you unmoored. The Stoics knew this, so they trained themselves to return, again and again, to the moment at hand. Try carrying a small token, a coin, a pebble in your pocket. Each time you catch your thoughts wandering to what's gone or what's coming, touch it. Let it pull you back to your breath, your surroundings, the texture of this second. It's a simple act, but it's profound. You're reclaiming your power, refusing to let your mind be a tenant in someone else's timeline. Over time, this habit builds a quiet invincibility. The world can rage, but you're here, rooted, clear, alive. This presence isn't just about calm. It's about action. The present is where you make choices that ripple into your future. Think of a time you faced a tough call. Maybe apologizing to someone you hurt or pushing through a grueling workout. In that moment, the past didn't matter. The future was irrelevant. All that existed was the choice before you, and by meeting it fully, you shaped who you became. The Stoics saw the now as a forge, where every thought, every deed, hammers your character into form. To live in the present is to be a sculptor, chiseling away distraction to reveal the strength beneath. But strength isn't built in ease, it's forged in resistance. This brings us to the Stoic practice of voluntary discomfort, a deliberate choice to step into hardship before it's thrust upon you. Picture a freezing winter morning, your alarm blaring at 5 a.m. for a run you promised yourself. Every fiber of your body begs to stay in bed, warm and safe. Yet you rise, lace up your shoes, and step into the cold. The air bites, your muscles protest, but as you move, something shifts. You feel alive, not despite the discomfort but because of it. You've chosen this challenge, and in doing so, you've tamed it. The Stoics lived for moments like these, not because they loved pain, but because they knew it was the crucible of resilience. They practiced this rigorously. Seneca would skip meals to mimic hunger, not out of deprivation but preparation. You must get used to taking nothing for granted, he wrote, knowing that familiarity with hardship strips it of fear. By choosing discomfort, whether fasting, sleeping on the floor, or facing a tough truth, they inoculated themselves against life's unpredictability. When real trials came, illness, loss, betrayal, they were ready, not because they were superhuman but because they trained. Modern parallels abound. Take David Goggins, the ultramarathoner and former Navy SEAL who turned his life around through relentless self-discipline. Goggins didn't grow up athletic, he was overweight, struggling, scared. But he started choosing discomfort, running miles in pain, studying through exhaustion, facing his insecurities head-on. Each grueling step taught him that discomfort wasn't his enemy. It was his ally, shaping him into someone who could endure anything. This principle isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, intellectual. Think of learning a new skill like coding or public speaking. The beginning is brutal. Confusion, mistakes, the urge to quit. But by leaning into that awkwardness, you grow. A 2019 study in psychological science found that people who embrace challenging tasks, despite initial discomfort, develop greater confidence and competence over time. The Stoics would have called this voluntary discomfort, a willingness to sit with the unfamiliar until it becomes a friend. Every time you push through a tough conversation, tackle a project outside your comfort zone, or admit a flaw to yourself, you're doing the same. You're teaching your mind that struggle isn't a threat, it's a path. This practice flips our cultural obsession with comfort on its head. We're sold the idea that happiness means ease, cozy apps, instant delivery, endless entertainment. But the Stoics saw that ease weakens us. Comfort breeds fragility. Challenge builds fortitude. When you skip that extra hour of Netflix to journal, wake early to meditate, or choose honesty over avoidance, you're not just enduring, you're evolving. You're telling yourself, I can handle this and more. And when life's uninvited hardships arrive, A layoff, a heartbreak, a global crisis. You're not blindsided. You've been here before in the training ground of your own making. Voluntary discomfort also deepens your presence. When you're cold, tired, or uncertain, the moment sharpens. You're not drifting into what-ifs. You're here, feeling the ground beneath you, deciding your next move. It's a feedback loop. The more you anchor in the now, the braver you become to face discomfort. The more you face discomfort, the easier it is to stay present. Together, they weave a resilience that's not loud or showy but unshakable. Like a tree that bends in the wind but never breaks. Try this. Pick one small discomfort today. Skip a meal, take a cold shower, or start that task you've been dodging. Notice how it feels, not the pain but the power of choosing it. Write down what you learn. Maybe it's that hunger isn't as scary as you thought, or that fear fades when you act. These moments stack, each one a brick in your inner fortress. Over time, you'll see discomfort not as a burden but as a gift, a chance to grow stronger, clearer, freer. The Stoics knew that life's greatest lessons come not from ease but from engagement. With the moment, with challenge, with truth. Presence and discomfort are your tools, but they're only the beginning. To truly thrive, you must see every obstacle not as a wall but as a teacher, guiding you toward a wisdom that transforms the very way you walk through the world. Life rarely unfolds as we plan. It throws curveballs, missed deadlines, broken promises, dreams that slip through our fingers like sand. These moments can feel like betrayals, as if the universe is conspiring against us. But the Stoics, with their unrelenting clarity, saw something different in these disruptions. They saw teachers, not tyrants. Every obstacle, they believed, is a lesson in disguise, a chance to hone patience, sharpen wisdom, and forge virtue. To resist a challenge is to miss its gift. To embrace it is to grow. And yet, to learn from life's trials, you must first protect the one resource that makes learning possible: your attention. In a world clamoring for your focus, endless notifications, heated debates, trivial distractions, the Stoics taught that attention is your most precious asset. Guard it fiercely, choose what you let in, and you cultivate a mind not just calm but unbreakable. Together, these principles, seeing obstacles as teachers and safeguarding your attention, form a Stoic blueprint for a life where difficulties refine you and distractions lose their pull, guiding you toward a clarity that no storm can shake. Let's begin with the idea that obstacles are teachers. Picture yourself launching a small business, pouring months into a product you believe in. You've planned every detail, envisioned success. Then, on launch day, a glitch crashes your website, orders stall, and customers flood your inbox with complaints. The instinct is to curse your luck, to see this as failure. But what if you stepped back and looked again? The glitch isn't just a disaster. It's a chance to test your resilience, to learn how systems fail, to connect with customers through honest apologies. It's a classroom, not a courtroom. Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. His words aren't poetry. They're a challenge to reframe every setback as a step forward, to see life's roadblocks not as dead ends but as detours to strength. This perspective is transformative because it flips our natural resistance. We're wired to fight obstacles, to resent them as interruptions. A delayed flight, a colleague's betrayal, a health scare. These feel like personal affronts. But the Stoics ask us to pause and ask, what's here to teach me? Consider a real-life example. Thomas Edison, the inventor whose Stuart Littlefield famously failed over 1,000 times before perfecting the incandescent bulb. Each burnt filament, each shattered glass, was a lesson, not a defeat. "I have not failed," he reportedly said. "I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison didn't see obstacles as stops. He saw them as data, each one refining his path to success. That's Stoic wisdom in action. Every hurdle is a chance to grow smarter, tougher, humbler. This mindset resonates with modern research. Psychologists like Carol Dweck, who studies growth mindsets, have shown that people who view challenges as opportunities to learn outperform those who see them as threats. In a 2018 study, Students encouraged to embrace difficulties as part of learning showed greater persistence and better grades over time. The Stoics were living this truth centuries ago, treating life's trials as a gymnasium for the soul. When plans crumble, they don't see ruin, they see practice. A missed promotion isn't just loss. It's a lesson in patience, a prompt to sharpen skills or rethink goals. A strained relationship isn't just pain. It's a mirror, revealing where you can grow in empathy or boundaries. This doesn't mean pretending obstacles are pleasant. The Stoics weren't naive. They felt the sting of hardship as deeply as anyone, but they refused to let it define them. Think of a time you faced something tough, a job rejection, a personal loss. In the moment, it hurt, but looking back, didn't it teach you something? Maybe it showed you your resilience, clarified your values, or pushed you toward a better path. That's what Marcus meant when he saw obstacles as the way. They're not detours. They're the curriculum, sculpting your character with every bruise. Practicing this takes intention. The next time something goes wrong, say a car breaks down or a project flops, pause, say to yourself, "This is my training." Then ask, "What can I learn here?" Maybe it's patience, resourcefulness, or the humility to ask for help. Write it down, not to dwell, but to crystallize the lesson. Over time, you'll notice a shift. Obstacles stop feeling like punishments and start looking like invitations, to stretch, to adapt, to become more than you were. You begin to see life not as a series of traps, but as a masterclass in virtue, where every challenge hones your edge. Yet, to learn from these teachers, you need a clear mind, and that's where guarding your attention comes in. Your focus is the gatekeeper of your soul, deciding what shapes your thoughts, your mood, your life. The Stoics were ruthless about this. They saw the mind as a garden. Water weeds like gossip or outrage, and they'll choke out your peace. Nurture clarity, courage, purpose, and your inner world blooms. You become what you give your attention to, Epictetus warned. A truth that hits harder today than ever. In our digital age, distractions aren't just noise, they're an assault. A 2022 report from the Pew Research Center found that 60% of Americans feel overwhelmed by information overload, with social media and news cycles designed to hijack your focus, feeding you anger, fear, or trivia to keep you hooked. Think about your day. A ping from your phone, a heated comment online, an ad promising instant gratification. Each one pulls at your attention, eroding your ability to think deeply, to stay grounded. The Stoics would call this theft. Every click training your mind to crave novelty over meaning. Modern science agrees. A 2019 study in Nature Communications showed that excessive screen time fragments attention spans, reducing focus and emotional regulation. The cost isn't just time. It's your clarity, your calm, your capacity to grow from life's lessons. Every scroll past divisive posts or petty arguments is a moment you're not reflecting, not learning, not becoming. Guarding your attention means choosing what enters your garden. It's saying no to the endless buzz of notifications and yes to what strengthens you. A book that challenges your mind, a walk that quiets your heart, a conversation that lifts your spirit. Take someone like Cal Newport, the author of Deep Work, who advocates for ruthless focus in a distracted world. Newport ditched social media to protect his attention, not out of snobbery but necessity. The result? Books that inspire millions, a career built on clarity. He's a modern Stoic, filtering out noise to cultivate depth. You can do the same, starting small. Audit your information diet. Unfollow one source that stirs pointless anger, maybe a clickbait news site or a toxic account. Replace it with something nourishing, a podcast on Stoicism, a journal for reflection. Notice how your mind feels lighter, sharper, less cluttered. This isn't about isolation, it's about intention. The Stoics didn't hide from the world. They engaged it deliberately, letting in what aligned with virtue and filtering out what didn't. In a boardroom or a family dinner, you can do the same. When negativity flares, a coworker's rant, a relative's jab, don't absorb it. Picture your attention as a spotlight. Shine it on what matters, not what distracts. If a conversation turns petty, steer it toward purpose or step away. It's not rude. It's stewardship, a refusal to let chaos colonize your mind. This practice builds over time. At first, you'll slip, doom scrolling at midnight, stewing over a slight. That's okay. The Stoics weren't perfect. They were persistent. Each time you redirect your focus, closing a tab, taking a breath, choosing silence, you're carving a new habit. A 2021 study in Frontiers in Psychology found that mindfulness practices, like selective attention, boost mental clarity and reduce stress. The Stoics were mindfulness pioneers, standing guard at their mind's gate, ensuring only the worthy pass through. As you do this, you'll feel a shift. Your thoughts deepen, your calm strengthens, your ability to learn from obstacles grows. These disciplines, seeing obstacles as teachers, guarding your attention, are your armor against life's unpredictability. They free you to meet challenges not with dread but curiosity, to live not reactively but purposefully. And they prepare you for the next Stoic leap, embracing your fate fully and pausing before you act, practices that turn life's raw chaos into a canvas for wisdom. Life is an untamed river, rushing forward with moments of joy and torrents of pain, often indifferent to our hopes or fears. In its unpredictability, it's easy to feel like a victim, battered by currents beyond our control. Yet, the Stoics saw a different path, not to fight the river, but to dive into it with open arms. This is the essence of amor fati, the love of fate, a radical call to embrace every twist and turn of life as essential to your growth. It's not passive surrender but an active choice to see every event, triumph, tragedy, or the mundane in between, as raw material for building a stronger, wiser self. And to wield this love of fate with clarity, the Stoics gave us another tool, the pause. Before reacting to life's provocations, they urged us to hesitate, to carve out a sliver of space between stimulus and response. In that fleeting pause lies your freedom, the power to choose wisdom over impulse, calm over chaos. Together, amor fati and the Stoic pause weave a tapestry of resilience, transforming life's relentless flow into a journey of purpose and poise, where nothing happens to you, but everything happens for you. Let's begin with amor fati, the Stoic invitation to love your fate. Imagine waking to a day that unravels your plans. A sudden illness, a canceled opportunity, a heartbreak you didn't see coming. The instinct is to resist, to argue with reality. This shouldn't be happening, but what if you leaned in instead? What if you looked at the pain and said, "You belong to me, and I'll make something of you"? This is amor fati. Not just accepting what happens, but cherishing it as a vital thread in the fabric of your life. Marcus Aurelius, who faced betrayal and plague as Rome's emperor, lived this principle, writing, "Everything suits me that suits your designs, O my universe." His words pulse with courage, a refusal to see any moment as wasted, no matter how bitter. This love of fate is audacious because it defies our urge to control. We crave smooth paths, predictable outcomes, yet life laughs at our blueprints. The Stoics, inspired by thinkers like Epictetus, saw every event as a piece of a larger mosaic, each one shaping your character in ways you might not yet see. Consider Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison for fighting apartheid. Stripped of freedom, enduring harsh labor and isolation, he could have grown bitter. Instead, he embraced his fate, not as punishment but as preparation. In his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, he wrote, "The struggle is my life." Each hardship taught him patience, empathy, and resolve, forging the leader who would unite a nation. Mandela's story mirrors amor fati. He didn't just endure, he transformed suffering into strength, proving that even the darkest moments hold purpose when you choose to claim it. This mindset shifts everything. A job loss isn't just a blow. It's a chance to rethink your path, to discover resilience you didn't know you had. A strained relationship isn't just grief. It's a lesson in forgiveness or letting go. Even joy, a promotion, a new love, becomes richer when you see it as fleeting, part of life's impermanent dance. Amor fati isn't blind optimism. It's clear-eyed courage. It's standing in the rain and saying, "This too is mine." Modern psychology echoes this. Research on post-traumatic growth, like studies by Dr. Richard Tedeschi, shows that people who find meaning in adversity, seeing it as a catalyst for growth, often emerge stronger, with deeper relationships and a sharper sense of purpose. The Stoics were pioneers here, teaching that pain isn't the enemy. Resistance to it is. Living a more fatty takes practice, because resentment comes easier. When life stings, a rude stranger, a missed deadline, the mind wants to push back. Try this each morning. Set an intention to welcome whatever comes. Whisper to yourself, "Today, I'll meet every moment as necessary." When something disrupts you, a flat tire, a harsh critique, pause and repeat, "This is my material." Then ask, "How can this shape me?" Maybe the tire teaches patience. Maybe the critique sharpens your work. Write it down at day's end, not to obsess but to see the pattern. How life's messiness becomes your masterpiece. Over time, you'll feel a shift. You'll stop fearing what's next, knowing you can mold anything into growth. This embrace of fate doesn't mean you act recklessly. It means you act thoughtfully. And that's where the Stoic pause comes in. A practice so simple it's almost deceptive, yet so powerful it can rewrite your life. Picture a heated moment. Someone cuts you off in traffic, your pulse spikes, and a curse is on your tongue. Or maybe it's a cutting email from a colleague, tempting you to fire back. In that split second, your instincts scream to react. But what if you didn't? What if you counted to 5, took a breath, and let the urge pass? That's the Stoic pause, a deliberate break between what happens and what you do next. Epictetus nailed it. You have power over your mind, not events. The pause is where that power lives, a tiny window where you choose who you'll be. This practice is revolutionary because it disrupts the autopilot of emotion. We're wired to snap back. Anger, fear, or hurt can hijack us before we blink. A 2021 study in Neuroscience and Biobehavioral Reviews found that impulsive reactions are tied to the amygdala, the brain's alarm system, but pausing activates the prefrontal cortex, your seat of reason. The Stoics didn't need scans to know this. They saw that between stimulus and response lies freedom. Think of Abraham Lincoln, known for his calm under pressure. During the Civil War, when aides or generals provoked him, he'd write hot letters venting his frustration, then tuck them away, never sent. That pause saved alliances, preserved his clarity, and shaped a legacy. Lincoln's restraint was stoic. He chose his response, not his reflex. The pause works in everyday life, too. Imagine you're at a family dinner, and your uncle lobs a barbed comment about your career. The air tenses, you're ready to retort. But you pause, sip your water, count to 5. In that space, you see options. Maybe he's projecting his own doubts, or maybe this isn't worth a fight. You respond with a smile or change the topic, keeping your peace intact. That's not weakness, it's mastery. You've sidestepped a spiral, preserved your calm, and maybe even modeled grace for others. The pause doesn't erase emotion. It gives you room to shape it. Practicing this takes grit because reactions feel urgent. You'll fail sometimes, snapping at a partner, stewing over a slight. That's okay, the Stoics weren't robots. Marcus admitted to losing his temper, then recommitted to trying again. Start small. For one day, when you feel triggered, count to 5 before speaking or acting. Notice how the heat fades, how clarity creeps in. Journal about it. What did you feel? What did you choose? Over time, that pause grows wider like a muscle stretched by use. A 2020 study in mindfulness showed that brief pauses improve decision-making and reduce stress, confirming what the Stoics practiced. A moment of restraint can rewrite a day. The pause also deepens a more fatty. When you love your fate, you're ready to meet life's blows. But the pause ensures you meet them wisely. Say you lose a client at work, a hit to your ego and wallet. A more fatty says, "This is mine to shape." The pause asks, "How?" In that breath, you might see the loss as a chance to diversify your skills or build better relationships. You're not just embracing fate. You're crafting it with intention, turning raw stone into sculpture. These practices, loving your fate, pausing before you leap, are your shield and sword against life's chaos. They teach you to greet every moment with courage and respond with clarity, building a life not ruled by chance but shaped by choice. And yet, there's one final Stoic lesson to anchor this all. a daily reminder that time is finite, urging you to live with urgency and truth in every breath you take. Life is a fleeting gift, a single breath stretched across a handful of years, yet we often live as if time is endless. We chase distractions, cling to grudges, and postpone what matters most, assuming tomorrow will always come. The Stoics, with their piercing wisdom, saw through this illusion. They practiced memento mori, remembering death, not to dwell in gloom but to ignite life with urgency and clarity. To meditate on mortality is to strip away the trivial, to sharpen your focus on what truly counts. Love, purpose, integrity. It's a call to live so fully in each moment that you could greet your final day with peace, not regret. And the path to this peace, the Stoics taught, lies in living virtuously, aligning every choice with justice, courage, temperance, and wisdom. Calm isn't a prize you win. It's a byproduct of a life built on principle, where each virtuous act lays a stone in an unshakable inner fortress. Together, memento mori and the pursuit of virtue form the Stoic capstone. A life not just endured but crafted, where the fleeting nature of time fuels a legacy of meaning that chaos cannot touch. Let's start with memento mori, the Stoic practice of remembering you will die. It sounds grim, like a shadow cast over a sunny day, but for the Stoics, it was sunlight itself, a lens that clarified what matters. Seneca, ever blunt, wrote, "You act like mortals in all that you fear and like immortals in all that you desire." He saw our contradiction. We dread small slights as if they're fatal, yet waste hours as if we'll live forever. The Stoics flipped this on its head. By holding death close, not as a specter but a teacher, they lived more vividly. Each day could be their last, so each day had to count. Imagine waking with that mindset. Every coffee sipped, every hug given, every task tackled carries weight because it might not come again. That's not fear. It's freedom. A reminder to stop drifting and start living. This practice cuts through our modern haze. We're bombarded by noise. Ads promising youth, apps stealing hours, a culture obsessed with more. A 2023 study from the University of California found that Americans spend over 5 hours daily on screens, often on autopilot, scrolling past moments that could spark joy or growth. The Stoics would call this theft not of time but of life. Memento mori pulls you back. It's standing in a crowded subway, feeling the pulse of strangers around you, and realizing they're as mortal as you. It's watching your kids play, knowing these years will fade, and choosing to be there, phone down, heart open. It's forgiving a friend's slight because grudges waste a currency you can't replenish. Consider Steve Jobs, who faced death head-on after his 2005 cancer diagnosis. In his Stanford commencement address, he said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life." Jobs wasn't a Stoic, but he lived their truth. Death stripped away his fear of failure, his need for approval, pushed him to create, to love, to risk boldly because time was finite. He didn't waste it on petty arguments or chasing trends. Memento mori gave him clarity, and it can do the same for you. It's not about morbidity. It's about urgency, a fire that burns away the trivial to reveal what's eternal. Your actions, your impact, your truth. Practicing this isn't complex, but it's profound. Try it tonight. Before sleep, whisper, "I may not wake tomorrow." Let it sink in, not to scare you, but to ground you. Ask, did I live today well? Did I speak kindly? Act bravely? Love fully? If not, resolve to do better tomorrow. This ritual, small as it seems, rewires you. A 2021 study in Journal of Positive Psychology found that reflecting on mortality boosts gratitude and purpose, helping people prioritize relationships over materialism. The Stoics knew this intuitively. They saw death as a mirror, reflecting your life's worth, not in wealth or fame, but in how you've shaped the moments you're given. This clarity sets the stage for living virtuously, the Stoic pursuit that turns fleeting time into lasting strength. Virtue, justice, courage, temperance, wisdom, isn't a lofty ideal. It's a practice, a daily choice to align your actions with what's right, not what's easy. The Stoics didn't chase calm for its own sake. They chased excellence, knowing peace would follow. Do what is just and you'll have purpose, Marcus Aurelius might have said. Be brave and fear won't rule you. Stay temperate and desires won't own you. Seek wisdom and chaos won't shake you. Virtue is the scaffolding of a life that stands firm, no matter what storms rage outside. This pursuit feels radical today, when quick fixes, pills, apps, hacks, promise serenity without effort. But calm bought cheaply fades fast. The Stoics' new true peace is earned, stone by stone, through choices that reflect your highest self. Think of a nurse during the 2020 pandemic, working 16-hour shifts in a swamped hospital. Amid fear and exhaustion, she chooses justice, treating every patient with dignity, no matter their story. She chooses courage, showing up despite the risk. She chooses temperance, eating sparingly to save supplies for others. She chooses wisdom, listening to science over panic. Her calm isn't forced. It flows from her actions, a quiet strength that holds her steady while the world trembles. Virtue isn't reserved for heroes. It's in the everyday. It's the parent who speaks calmly to a tantruming child, choosing patience over anger. It's the coworker who admits a mistake, choosing honesty over ego. It's you saying no to a second drink because you value clarity. Each choice is a brick in your inner fortress, building a soul that chaos can't crack. A 2019 study in Personality and Social Psychology Review found that people who prioritize moral values, like fairness and bravery, report higher life satisfaction even under stress. The Stoics would nod. Virtue doesn't just anchor you. It frees you, letting you walk through fire without burning. Living this way takes commitment because virtue demands effort. It's easier to snap at a rude driver than to breathe and let it go. It's tempting to cut corners for gain, to indulge every craving, to avoid hard truths. But the Stoics saw that ease erodes character. Struggle builds it. Try this each morning. Pick one virtue to guide you. Say, courage. Write it down. Today, I'll act bravely. Then, in every choice, speaking up in a meeting, facing a fear, ask, what would courage do? At night, reflect. Where did you succeed? Where did you slip? Don't judge, just learn. This practice, repeated daily, weaves virtue into your bones. You become someone who doesn't just know what's right, but lives it. This pursuit ties back to memento mori. Knowing your time is short sharpens your choices. Why waste a day on envy when you could choose fairness? Why let fear steer when courage could lead? Death reminds you that life isn't a dress rehearsal. It's the main act, and every choice writes your story. The Stoics saw this as liberation. You can't control how long you live, but you can control how well. Virtue makes each moment count, not in applause but in integrity, a quiet knowing that you've honored your time. Together, memento mori and virtue craft a life of depth. They teach you to meet mortality not with dread but readiness, to build a character not swayed by chaos but strengthened by it. They're your compass in a world that pulls you toward noise and haste, guiding you to live with purpose, not just today but every day you're given. And this journey, rooted in the fleeting and the true, prepares you to face the ultimate Stoic challenge, to see life's chaos not as a burden but as a forge, where every struggle hones your soul for greatness. Life is a relentless teacher, offering lessons wrapped in joy, pain, chaos, and quiet. The Stoics, those ancient guides of the soul, didn't just ponder this truth. They lived it, crafting a philosophy that's less about grand theories and more about daily practice. Their wisdom isn't a dusty relic. It's a toolkit, forged to help you navigate a world that never slows down. Through the lens of Stoicism, every moment becomes an opportunity, not to be overwhelmed, but to grow stronger, clearer, wiser. The practices they left us aren't abstract ideals. They're concrete steps, small but mighty, designed to build a mind that stands firm against life's storms. These exercises, rooted in their teachings, are your invitation to transform, not by changing the world, but by mastering yourself. And as you walk this path, you'll find something extraordinary. A calm that doesn't flicker, a courage that doesn't falter, a life that feels wholly your own. Start with the chaos of your day. Things go wrong. Someone snaps at you, a plan collapses, a worry creeps in. Instead of letting these moments steal your peace, grab a notebook and write them down. List 3 events that rattled you. Maybe a coworker's curt email, a missed bus, a nagging doubt about tomorrow. Next to each, reframe it as a Stoic would. That email? It's not a personal attack. It's a chance to practice patience, to respond with grace. The missed bus? Not a disaster, but a moment to breathe, to notice the world around you. The worry? A reminder to focus on what's in your control, your actions, not your fears. This isn't about denying frustration. It's about reshaping it. A 2020 study in cognitive therapy and research showed that reframing negative events reduces stress and boosts resilience. Echoing what the Stoics knew, your perspective is your power. Each time you rewrite the story of your day, you're not just reflecting. You're reclaiming your narrative, turning chaos into a canvas for growth. But life's noise doesn't just come from events. It comes from people. Emotions are contagious, spreading like wildfire through words, glances, screens. The Stoics saw this, urging us to guard our hearts against the pull of others' negativity. Practice an emotional fast for a day. When someone vents, your friend ranting about their boss, a stranger's outrage online, don't absorb it. Picture a shield around your mind, letting their words slide off. Listen, nod, but don't carry their weight. If a heated post on social media tempts you to dive in, scroll past. This isn't coldness. It's clarity, a choice to protect your peace. Research from Nature Communications in 2018 found that stress spreads through social networks, amplifying anxiety unless you set boundaries. By fasting from others' chaos, you're not shutting them out. You're freeing yourself to respond with kindness, not reflex, to act from strength, not strain. To anchor yourself further, carry a small reminder of the present. A coin, a keychain, a pebble in your pocket. Life pulls you toward the past's regrets or the future's what-ifs, but the now is where you're alive. Each time your mind drifts, replaying a mistake, fretting over a deadline, touch your token, feel its weight, let it tug you back to this breath, this moment. The Stoics lived for the present, knowing it's the only place you can act, love, choose. A 2019 study in psychological science found that mindfulness practices, like focusing on the moment, sharpen clarity and reduce anxiety. Your pebble isn't magic. It's a signal, a whisper that life is happening here, now, and you're awake for it. Strength grows in challenge, so don't wait for hardship to find you. Seek it out. Choose voluntary discomfort to toughen your soul. Skip a meal, take a cold shower, wake an hour earlier to tackle a task you've dodged. These aren't punishments, they're training. When you feel hunger or shiver in the cold, you're learning that discomfort isn't your enemy, it's your ally. David Goggins, the ultramarathoner who rebuilt himself through relentless effort, calls this callousing the mind. The Stoics would agree. Each chosen struggle makes unchosen ones less daunting. A 2021 study in Journal of Personality showed that embracing small challenges builds grit, preparing you for bigger ones. That early alarm or skip dessert isn't just discipline. It's a declaration. You're tougher than your instincts, ready for whatever life brings. When obstacles do come, and they will, don't fight them. See them as teachers. A project fails, a friend lets you down, a goal slips away. Say aloud, "This is my training." The Stoics believed every hurdle holds a lesson, like a coach pushing you to grow. That failed project might teach adaptability. That friend's lapse, forgiveness. Write it down. What's this obstacle showing me? Research on growth mindsets, like Carol Dweck's work, confirms that viewing setbacks as learning opportunities fosters resilience. Each time you reframe a challenge, you're not just enduring, you're evolving, turning life's friction into fuel. Distractions threaten this growth, so guard your attention like a treasure. The Stoics saw focus as the gatekeeper of virtue, and today's world tests it relentlessly. A 2022 Pew Research study found 60% of Americans feel swamped by information overload, their minds pulled by pings and posts. Audit your day. What's stealing your clarity? Maybe it's a news app feeding fear, a social feed sparking envy. Cut one source this week. Unfollow an account, mute notifications, and replace it with something that lifts you. A book, a walk, silence. This isn't retreat. It's reclamation. A choice to nourish wisdom over noise. Your attention shapes your soul. Choose what makes it stronger. To weave this all together, embrace each day as part of your fate. The Stoics called this amor fati, loving what is not what you wish. Each morning say, whatever happens, it's mine to shape. A traffic jam, a kind word, a sudden loss, they're all material for your growth. Nelson Mandela turned prison into purpose. You can turn delays into patience, pain into perspective. This mindset, backed by studies on post-traumatic growth, transforms struggle into meaning. You're not a victim of life. You're its artist, sculpting strength from every moment. And when life provokes you, a harsh comment, a spark of anger, pause, count to 5, breathe, let the impulse fade. The Stoic pause is your freedom, a space to choose wisdom over reflex. Lincoln's unsent letters saved alliances. Your pause can save relationships, sanity, peace. A 2020 mindfulness study showed pausing improves decisions, proving what the Stoics practiced. Restraint is power. Each pause carves a wider path to clarity, letting you respond as your best self. Death sharpens this urgency. Each night, reflect, I may not wake. It's not grim, it's grounding. Did you live today with intention? Did you choose kindness, effort, truth? Steve Jobs used mortality to fuel his courage, and you can too. A 2021 Journal of Positive Psychology study found that contemplating death boosts gratitude, urging you to prioritize what lasts, love, impact, integrity, over what fades. Let memento mori be your compass, guiding you to live now, fully, fiercely. Finally, make virtue your daily work. Choose one trait, justice, courage, temperance, wisdom, to guide you each morning. Write it down. Today, I'll be patient. Let it steer you. Stay calm in a tense meeting. Speak truth despite fear. At night, review. Where did you shine? Where did you slip? This builds a life of principle, not chance. A 2019 Personality and Social Psychology Review study linked value-driven living to deeper fulfillment, echoing the Stoic promise. Virtue breeds calm, a peace no storm can break. This is the Stoic way, not a theory, but a practice, a daily forging of a mind that doesn't bend to chaos. It's a call to wake up, to choose, to live. So here's your challenge. Start today. Pick one practice, reframe an event, pause before reacting, reflect on mortality, and do it. Then share your journey. Subscribe to Zenlight 8, where we explore these truths together. And in the comments, leave one word, presence. It's a reminder to stay here, now alive. Let's build unbreakable minds, one moment at a time. The Stoic path is no gentle stroll. It's a climb, steep and rugged, but breathtaking at its peak. These practices aren't quick fixes. They're commitments, each one a step toward a life not dictated by chance but shaped by choice. You'll stumble, lose your temper, chase distractions, forget to pause. That's not failure, it's feedback. The Stoics weren't flawless. They were relentless, returning to their principles day after day. And in that persistence, they found freedom. Not from life's storms, but within them. You can too. Each reframed moment, each chosen challenge, each virtuous act builds a fortress inside you. A sanctuary where calm and courage reign. This isn't about escaping reality. It's about meeting it head-on, with clarity, grit, and grace. The world will keep spinning, chaotic and wild, but you'll stand steady, not because you've tamed the chaos, but because you've mastered yourself. In our fast-paced, screen-lit world, Stoicism is a lifeline. Social media pulls at your emotions, news fuels your fears, and endless demands fracture your focus. But you're not powerless. Start small. Turn off notifications for an hour. Let a rude comment pass without reply. Choose one task to do fully present. These aren't just hacks. They're rebellions against a culture that thrives on your distraction. Protect your time like it's gold, because it is. Forgive quickly, not for others but for you. Grudges are heavy, and life's too short. And above all, act with intention. Whether it's a kind word to a stranger or a bold step toward a dream, make your moments count. The Stoics remind us, you don't control the world, but you control your mark on it. Leave one that shines. The journey to an unbreakable mind starts with a single step, and Zenlight 8 is here to walk it with you. Subscribe to our channel for weekly dives into Stoic wisdom, practical tools, and stories that inspire. Hit that bell icon so you never miss a spark of clarity in life's noise. And in the comments, share your thoughts. How are you practicing presence today? Drop one word: presence. It's a signal to yourself and this community that you're choosing to live here, now, fully awake. Let's grow stronger together, one mindful moment at a time.